Hello, everyone. Welcome to the LTG Show. This is episode number 224. My name is Sean Wilburn.
I'm Tony Hannity.
And I'm Andrew Lee.
And we are here to talk about the biggest tech news of the week. And boy, oh boy, do we got some news this week. Man, we are fully loaded. Now, before we get started, I always like to begin by giving you a little contact information. This way, so if you have any reason to want to reach us and, ask us a question, say what's up, or anything like that, this is what you do. Shoot us an email at comments@lazytechguys.com, or you can give us a call at area code 707-722-5299. We'd love to hear from you. It's going to be fantastic. All right, now, this is a live broadcast that we like to do on the Google Hangouts. And we like to record them at about 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Tuesdays every single week. So if you happen to be up at around that time, please come in. We'd love for you to join us. And we have our Q&A open, so you are welcome to shoot us a question, and we will answer them throughout the thing and, have some fun and all that. It'd be essentially you being like the fourth member of this little podcast. It'd be fantastic. So, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. All right, now we start off this way. Tony, how are you doing this week?
Doing well. Little sick, under the weather. But aside from that, doing good.
Awesome, man. And Tony, by the way, thank you. Anyway, all right.
You're welcome.
So, Andrew, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man. Kind of just the regular wheel and spiel, everyday, daily grind. Daily grind.
I just love the fact you guys just use that, and it always works, I'm telling you. All right, well, while you guys are dealing with the daily grind, and Tony, I hope you're recovering, I'm going to be the bubbly one here, so I am going to be their contrast of their dark manner and dark ways, and their, stuff like that, but, I'm going to be uppity and try to keep things festive and happy here.
We're starting off on the wrong point.
Wait, first topic. There it goes. But the first topic, as I realized, okay, we're going to start with, There it is. That's all for me here. All right, so we always like to begin with some tech topics, but before we do, we want to talk about the passing of Mr. Leonard Nimoy. Tony?
Yeah, so Leonard Nimoy, probably best known as Dr. Spock, passed away. He was 83 years old. He passed away on Friday due to cancer. He was actually a smoker for 30 years. He's a smoker for a while, and he quit over 30 years ago, but it's still caught up to him. And although this isn't really necessarily a tech topic, he had a lot of his character specifically had a lot of impact on people that are in the tech community today. Because if you think about it, Spock, being half human, was able to look at humans from a very logical standpoint and being able to ask the questions why. And we accepted that he was, well, maybe not accepted, but we knew that he was always going to ask that question and always go about life with that kind of question, but still have the human subtleties. And I know a lot of physicists and scientists and technology people, even myself, are kind of in the field that we're in because we took some social cues from his mannerisms. And Leonard Nimoy, as a human being, also reached out to people in the tech community and just everywhere. So one thing that was really amazing was when he passed, his last tweet. Did you guys see his last tweet?
Yeah.
What's the last tweet? Go ahead and read it.
I
thought you had it queued up. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I thought I had it queued up too.
Here, I'll pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
It was... I'm failing on this real big here.
Failing really, really bad.
Oh, whoops.
Come on, guys.
That was the wrong one.
All right. So Leonard Nimoy's last tweet was, right about here. A life is like a garden. Perfect moments can be had, but not preserved, except in memory. LLaP, which, if you don't know, stood for Live Long and Prosper. And he actually ended all of his tweets with LLaP, which is interesting because he wrote a book saying, "I'm not Spock," but he grew to kind of, I guess, embrace the character. And toward the end of his life, a lot of his tweets were very poignant and deep, and this one in particular on February 22nd. So, yeah, that's all I have to really say about him. Thank you very much, Mr. Nimoy, for all that you've done. And I guess we'll move on with the show with you in mind.
May you rest in peace.
If I lose my voice, I'm not gonna choke up because of it. It's just because I'm losing my voice.
Just so you know, Tony, you've been to my store. Have you been to my store? Actually, it's been a couple months, right?
You have that cardboard cutout, don't you?
Exactly. We still have the Leonard Nimoy Spock cardboard cutout still up at the store. Yeah. We didn't do anything in special to honor him, but we're not going to take it down for any reason.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because Spock, and to him, he lives forever to us. Anyway, all right. So let's get down to business. We got a lot of news to talk about, including GDC, which includes some VR, a lot of video game news, streaming news, and some news by people like Valve and more. And Mobile World Congress, also happened. A lot of news came out between HTC, BlackBerry, Samsung, more and more. But first, we are going to start talking about, well, once again, net neutrality, because it has passed like we pretty much have been saying for the last 2 weeks. It looks like, from what we have, it has passed with a 3-2 vote, which completely partisan vote. Would you believe it? I've been saying that it's a political matter at this point, and that's what it is. Essentially, they approved it, and they're going to call it a Title II. They're going to characterize it as a Title II. Utility, but they're not really going to do a whole lot except for just try to make sure that internet fast lanes are not going to happen, like paid prioritization, as they call it.
Right.
So that's the biggest deal here, and that's the biggest deal. Even apparently Google jumped in there at the last minute saying, hey, last little thing. There's a little bit of thing that people could get away with some paid prioritization. Yep. Google jumped in, they accepted that, and now it is a done deal. Paid prioritization is done. Net neutrality officially lives. The internet community
seems to be in is it,
well. The internet community is very jumping for joy.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
Interesting how it is, isn't it? Because a lot of people were voicing they wanted this, and then after hearing the other side, after Tim Wheeler's announcement on Wired 2 weeks ago, people came out and said, actually, based off of what you're saying, if you do go through with this, these things might happen. And I was at TWIT on Sunday. Sorry, I forgot to tell you, Sean. I was at TWIT, and I was during their live taping, they had Jerry Parnell on, and he mentioned a good point. Although the FCC says we won't increase taxes or tariffs or anything like that, it doesn't mean they can't.
Right.
It just means we won't. And we know how the government is. We know how they can go back on certain things, saying, "Oh, well, we had to, because of this, and this. Our hands were tied. I know we said we wouldn't, but we kind of had to." And unless it was written into law that we can't do this, there's really nothing saying that they're not going to have a particular bracket for high-speed internet to be, okay, it's $100 for everybody. It's like, oh wait, that's not what we wanted. It's like, well, you wanted it regulated, didn't you? You didn't want fast lanes, right? Well, this is how you pay the piper. So it's a 320-page document, and that itself isn't released. So a lot of people that are like excited and happy about it, we're not quite sure what we're excited and happy about because we don't know what is written in this 320-page document. We just know like the bullet points. So like I said last week and the week before, I'm excited that this is happening because this means that the government, although it's very political, and I 1,000% agree with you on that, Sean, but the government is listening, and their constituents are listening as well too, not just the tech people. And this is going to move things, maybe not in the right direction at first, but it's going to move it into the more public townhouse where the everyday man can have a say and kind of know what's going on instead of thinking, oh, this is just tech stuff. It doesn't affect me.
Well, my opinion is simply the internet's pretty big, and we're at a point now where someone probably has to take an extra look at it and the way it's structured in our country and how important it is. It might be in our interest to let this happen, but at the same time, it's probably going to happen. Let it be, and we'll just see how it turns out, and hopefully we don't get screwed in the deal.
Yeah,
I'm hoping for fairness. And at the same time, I mean, like, the government hasn't really gone out just to screw people. Like they said, they're not going to increase any pricing, but I mean, you're right. They could go back on that 15 years ago when the world changes and the internet changes and taxes change and all this stuff. World is different. They may have to suddenly go back and increase or change some number in that. But in the grand scheme of things, they don't really just go out to screw people in general. Like they just try to cover whoever's paying them the most money. But in general, they're not just going out to screw people. So.
I don't know. I've been watching too much X-Files lately, so I have to disagree with you guys. But,
well, X-Files is an exception to the rule, okay?
But the last thing I'll say about this, and then we can move on before I try to remember what I was going to say. Oh God! Yeah, I'm going to remember this later on.
Is going to be going on for a long time because of litigation. No.
Oh well, no. You know what? This doesn't really change how we're going to use the net.
Oh, not at all.
No, like that's the thing. Like this isn't like a night and day kind of switch. Like okay, starting tomorrow, things are going to be faster and cheaper and spunkier, and there's all this.
I got what you need. There it is. Check. Faster, cheaper, spunkier.
Yeah, it's not going to be that. I mean, all this really does is hopefully, kind of fire start some innovation, possibly, create some competition somehow. Because right now, it's 86% of people really only have two choices of the internet, maybe only one. Thank you, Comcast. And so hopefully we'll see that, but that won't be for years. So yeah, don't expect anything. Don't expect a bill credit or anything like that. That's all. That's all I'll say.
That'd be great. All right. We reported that Google hates porn. Google hates porn so much that they were going to take it off their network. They were going to ban porn on Blogger. Wait, no. Apparently that is incorrect. Tony, quick update.
Yeah, so Google, I guess, so Google got a lot of feedback. Google got a lot of feedback, and so they
took away my porn.
In a quote, they said, "This week we announced a change to Blogger's porn policy. We had a ton of feedback, in particular about the introduction of retroactive change. Some people have had accounts for over 10 plus years, but also about the negative impact on individuals who post sexually explicit content to express their identities. Blog owners should continue to mark their blogs containing sexually explicit content as adult so they can be placed behind an adult content warning page, but this means that they will not be automatically set to private." So all you porn hoarders on Blogger, whatever you're doing with your porn pictures, continue porning on. Because this is America, baby.
I'm just saying.
We love our porn.
All I know is like they were gonna take away my guns. They're gonna take away my porn. No, they can take away my porn. Not my porn. Dude, that article begs for it, man. Anyway, dude, what's happening March 9th?
March 9th, baby. The big phone of the year is finally going to be fully announced in Yerba Buena Center. The Apple Watch. I was going to say iWatch. The Apple Watch, which initially was introduced last September, is going to have its own event at Yerba Buena, and we're more than likely going to get more definitive pricing, more definitive markets as to who's going to get it, because there was some talk that only the United States was going to get it for the first launch, but apparently even Germany is going to get it, and then also more specifications and features that the watch can have. Because over the past 3 weeks, we haven't talked about it on the show because I think it's stupid, but there's some talk of an Apple car that's being manufactured in behind closed doors, behind some other closed doors, and of course Tim Cook has to go out and say, oh, in the future your Apple Watch could open your car. It's like, oh, so that means they are working on the car. No, you nincompoop. It doesn't mean they're working on a car. They're just saying. They're just looking at all the different technologies that that they could incorporate with their watch, and maybe it does mean it's going to open up a car, but it doesn't mean that they're working on an Apple car. So, in any event, we're going to get a lot more information as to the Apple Watch and how much these 18-karat gold watch is really going to be. It's suspected to be around like $5,000. So I'm still going to get neither. But hey, Andrew, with you and your iPhone 5S, it's you. If you ever want to do that Apple Pay, which I got to say is pretty freaking awesome, you can do it with your Apple Watch.
There you go.
So for the listeners. For the listeners, he did 2 thumbs up.
I'm not sure what to say other than I'm gonna have to sit down one of these days and just actually try. I've just been too busy to even remotely even look at it.
I know both of you guys aren't really wearable people as much as I am, so I don't put you.
I mean, if somebody sat me down or whatever, I'd definitely look at it, just kind of see what the appeal is, but it's just.
My issue is not that it's a wearable thing. My issue is just simply I just don't wear watches anymore. I mean, that's just simply it. So if I wore a watch, I would be more into it. Really, simply that.
Well, speaking about watches, Pebble last week announced their new Pebble Time, which is a color e-paper display. And instead of having separate applications which you flip through, based off of a chronological order of the last notification that you got, you would be able to see in a timely fashion the last text message or the last calendar update while you're flipping through your Pebble Time. And I think they were looking for only $500,000 of their Kickstarter, and now they're up to $15 million because they needed. This is the problem that I have with Kickstarter. Kickstarter originally was, hey, I'm a small company, but I don't have the marketing money to go out and have ads and a marketing team and developers, so I'm going to use Kickstarter to kickstart my business. And I get it that Pebble, although they are still kind of small compared to these other companies, they went back to Kickstarter as an homage to their original Kickstarter backers and said, we're going to launch a new product. And yeah, within minutes they hit their mark and everything. It's still a very cartoony looking watch, but to each their own. Today, Pebble announced another level of their watch called the Pebble Time Steel, which will have a steel band and steel bezel on the actual watch to kind of mimic the Pebble Steel that came out last year at CES that did pretty well too. So, yeah, still not a fan of how the new Pebble look and feel, but you know what? If you're looking to get something like this, the Pebble Steel will retail at $299, but still cheaper than the Apple Watch. But if you can get in early, you can get it for $249, or the or the Pebble Time, the standard plastic one, for I think now $199 or $179. So depending on how much they have left. So
So
let's
Tony-
look at this together here. Yeah, $15 million. There you go. And so yeah, if you wanna, yeah, so they still have about 8,000 left for the pledge of 179 for the standard Pebble time, and yeah, they introduced the Pebble Steel today for the 249.
So essentially, they're giving up. They're paying in advance for a discount on the watch.
Yeah, this is all Kickstarter's pre-order system.
That's all they're doing. That's what's happening right here. In this, like sometimes they give away bonuses. Some people like to do different things. In this situation, they're essentially pre-ordering and getting a discount.
I was
Right.
gonna
Yeah,
say,
I don't know how, like, the internet is torn about this because essentially what I said originally was Kickstarter is meant to kickstart a growing and brand new business. Going back to Kickstarter as an homage, I get it, but I don't know. It
kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it does. But I also get from Pebble's standpoint, if they were to invest the amount of money to get marketing material, to put it into places like Best Buy actually recoups about 50% of the profit from a sale of a Pebble watch, whereas Kickstarter doesn't take any money from the sale. They just take a percentage off of the pledges, and percentage-wise, that's a lot less than it would be in the long run. So this is, why doesn't every business use Kickstarter then? I don't know. It's just gonna put Kickstarter into a position of marketing where they weren't meant to be a pre-order system. It was meant to foster innovation and new companies, and I think that's wrong.
So the most important question here that has yet to be asked: do you like the look of that stainless steel one versus the others? I do. How about you?
Oh yeah, the stainless steel versus the original Pebble time. Yeah, I like stainless steel watches in general, but I still don't like the color e-paper.
Okay.
I like what they're trying to do, and even 7-day battery life. That's pretty freaking cool with regards to all the other smartwatches that are out there. Because I know Sean, you and I have debated on what is a good battery life. This is a really good battery life compared to the other ones, but I don't know. It's just because it's e-paper, it looks, the lettering, and it looks too blocky, looks too 8-bit to me, too cartoony, and I don't think they're going necessarily for a retro feel. I think they're just going for what they've been doing in the past with color, with a splash of color, and I still don't. I just don't like the way it looks.
All right, so tell us how you really feel, Tony. I'm kidding. All right, so.
But hey, apparently 30,000 or whatever other backers disagree with me. So go on you, Pebble. Congratulations.
I'll say the stainless steel one I like. What about you, Andrew? Do you like the stainless steel one, or are you still just like, eh?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm wearing stainless steel right now.
Look at you go, bro.
It just seems like a lot of these smartwatches, a lot of these wearables, are kind of all following that sort of same price ceiling there, about $250 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's like an ongoing trend or something or what, but well, with the exception of Apple.
Well, yeah, Apple's just Apple. All right,
Yeah.
So we have a lot of topics here that's coming up with GDC and Mobile World Congress. Got it right. I'm gonna make sure I get this right every time, so that Tony stops giving me crap between shows. Just so you guys know, he berades me. It's pretty awful. We're gonna take a break here. We're gonna thank our sponsor, which is Audible.com. Why do we think of them? Why do we thank them? Well, because they have a killer service that offers 150,000 titles of audiobooks to choose from, new releases, bestsellers, and more. A couple new releases. Apparently, we have one called Departure that they got in here. The Creator's Code looks pretty interesting. Here's one here called Half of the World. These are, some of the latest ones here. Other top sellers, The Girl on the Train is up on here, and of course, 50 Shades of Grey, just in case if you just can't get enough of that. You can actually listen to an audiobook version of that, which is probably just as steamy as the rest of it. All read by professionals and all all read by professionals and all well available on every device, including like Android, Windows Phone, and more. So, simply this is it's like a book. It's like a book club. You sign up, you pay a monthly fee. Every month, you get a free book. So in a way, the fee always gets you something out of it, and you get discounts on other books every single month. Works on every single device that you have including your mobile, your phones, including Android, Windows Phone, and more. And it's just a really cool service that we want you to check out. So use this URL here that I'm about to give you to check it out for free. That way, so you don't take any risk here. And if you don't like it, just kill it and you don't pay any money. And it's like a win-win situation all around. So you want to go to audibletrial.com/lazy. Once again, it is audibletrial.com/lazy. Use that URL, sign up, and enjoy the free book that you're going to get just for even trying it out. And when you listen to it, I think you're going to really dig it. You're going to sit there and be able to start your commutes, and instead of like listening to the same Lil Wayne record over and over again, you can go ahead and listen to something that will spark the mind, like get your imagination going and more. So audibletrial.com/lazy. Go ahead and check it out, sign up, and enjoy it. And we'd like to thank them for being a sponsor.
Can I tell a story real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
When I was at one of my stores, I had a customer who was buying a tablet, and she wanted to make sure it could play Audible. And I told her, yeah, no, it's great, because you can play Audible through the MP3 side, or you can get it downloaded directly from the website, yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. And then some person was like, oh, I heard. Some other person was like, I heard about Audible. What is that? And I told him, I was like, you know what though? If you want to sign up, go to this URL. So I don't know if he did or not, but we might be getting a royalty check from this guy. So thank you.
I thought you were gonna say this guy was playing Lil Wayne or something. All right. So first we're gonna hit up GDC. GDC just stands for Game Developer Conference.
San Francisco.
Yes. That is happening right now. And dude, we should just be rolling down there, huh? Why aren't we?
Started yesterday, actually.
Why aren't we, Andrew? Why aren't we out there just bumming, trying to get in?
Because we're too good for it, I guess. Because they know how we
answer, Andrew.
Come on, dude, be bumming, bro. I want to be out there. It's like, let me in. Anyway, all right. So quite a few different things that got announced. First thing we're gonna hit up is NVIDIA. NVIDIA had a couple things they're gonna announce. One, they're going to announce a 1080p game streaming service this upcoming May. Why 1080p is significant? Well, because most of the ones out there are actually 720p or less for streaming, and this might be one of the few ones out there, or one of the first ones to do so. So it's going to work on NVIDIA's cloud, and it's going to be called the NVIDIA Grid. Let's see here. Now, they're talking about 1080p, 60 frames per second is going to be the frame rate in game thing, so that's better than what you can get on consistently with like a PS4 and Xbox One, but equivalent what you'll get out of a good PC, right, Andrew? Yeah. And they're going to offer a couple subscription tiers. One is going to be free and premium. Of course, we don't know how much premium is, but I have a feeling I know how much the free one is.
Mm.
And
$12.
Yeah. And they're going to have at least 50 games at launch. So I guess some of the ones they're doing, they're showcasing Arkham Knight, and they're also showcasing The Witcher 3. But we'll see. Metal Gear Solid Ground Zero is supposed to be on there. Resident Evil Revelations 2, which just came out recently, is supposed to be in there. But we're going to start seeing this new competing service that's going to compete with Sony's PlayStation Now, and I guess kind of what OnLive was trying to do, but wasn't able to do. But game streaming, Netflix for video games. Andrew, how do you feel about this?
I was going to say, one of the things that they also said was that the service is going to need a 5 to 10 megabit download speed.
Oh, that's it? That's nothing.
Well, depending on how much you pay for the internet. Yeah.
So how would one measure that?
I mean, like ping test, because they said that it's going to be able to stream at, 150 milliseconds? And, like, usually when you do ping test, my connection to like a server is like anywhere from like 20-ish, mid-20s to about 60 to 80, depending on where I'm connecting to. So they say half a blink of an eye.
Okay, that's pretty dang fast.
Yeah, so I mean they're kind of joining the ranks of, a lot of these things that are going towards the cloud. And I think what Rad said that a while back too is it's kind of like the way of the future right now that a lot of these companies are leaning towards.
Yeah. Well, besides that, they also announced a new hardware. Andrew, what did they do hardware-wise?
So apparently they're releasing a new NVIDIA Shield, and it's going to be their first 4K Android TV console, and it's going to be launching this May for $199. And it's going to be coinciding with their Grid streaming service too. Apparently, it's going to have a non-Bluetooth remote, which they dub as the Shield remote. It's minimal looking, so one-click, one-touch voice search, kind of like it's like I guess the Amazon Fire TV remote. If you guys are familiar with that, and it's also going to have a headset jack for listening to, I guess, your content in privacy without disturbing everybody around you. I think also it's going to be powered by NVIDIA's new Tegra X1 superchip that they announced earlier, I think this year at CES. So, seems pretty interesting.
That looks nice, I gotta say.
I will say this, it does look like a Roku remote.
Wow,
very minimal.
I'm looking at the console itself here on the photos.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, that's like what it looks like I don't know, like an envelope that you'd see at like the Oscars or something, like really, really, really thin. It's pretty crazy.
Okay, so I like the streaming service. I'm concerned about this one. Here's the reason why I'm concerned about it. So they're bringing it at a $200 price point. As long as if they go below that, I think they'll be fine. If they're $200, I'm like, okay, great. Android powered, so the games are going to be more limited. They're not going to be quite the same console ones. At least not even the same stuff they would probably. Well, actually, unless they do the streaming service that will launch to this, then they kind of have something that they could use, like that will help deliver the 1080p. Otherwise, I just get worried about a limited library with this, and for it to be $200 and at this moment in the world, that if let's be real here, the PS4 is the one that everyone is getting. That one is killing everybody, and that's at $400. So at that point, $400 becomes your top tier, and everything has to be cheaper than that to really compete. Anything more expensive than that is going to have to really compete. So they're coming in at half the price. That's fine. If Sony cuts the price of their console, which they'll probably do in a year from now or a year and a half, that's going to really make people say, well, why would I buy this Android one, but for $100 more, I get the one that I really want, and that's the one everybody has. That's like that's what's the only thing that concerns me with this one here. The streaming service will add value to it, though.
So will this support the new streaming service?
It better. It has to.
Yeah, because
here's the thing too: is they say it can run Crysis 3, and it'll
right.
Like you said earlier,
that doesn't mean anything. If Crysis 3 is only available, like if Crysis 4 comes out and it's only available on Steam, Xbox One, and PS4, and it's not available on this, who cares if this thing could run it when the game isn't coming out for it?
Well, that'll depend on NVIDIA because they're saying that NVIDIA Shield's going to have its own store, kind of like I guess like pretty much every other company. So it's going to be more dependent on what their catalog has and what type of contracts they're going to write up with all these developers for like games.
So
the fact that this is 4K, do you think that will be a seller or not?
Only if they offer 4K content that matters that people want to play. Like if it's 4K video content, like if you're going to get your Netflix thing and you can't get 4K any other way, and this is the only way of getting it, that they could use at their disposal. But let's be real here. How many 4K sets do we have? People are still buying their 1080p sets, and 4Ks are just starting out. We're talking. They would be jumping into a market early. And it's going to take them a while as the amount of 4K sets jump out there. It'll probably take 2 years, maybe 3, till they really, really start taking off and you start seeing them regularly. This thing's going to have to survive that long. That's a long time.
Pretty much.
Real quick to the viewers right now that are viewing us live. Our Q&A is open, so let us know if you would buy this Shield. Committed Bob, whatever, the Android TV console for $200.
So, but anyway,
because you remember the I know the Ouya isn't Android TV or whatever, but that was around the same price, or it was $100.
Cheaper.
It was cheaper.
It was cheaper.
A lot cheaper. It was running Android games, and And being that this is, if this doesn't run the new streaming service, which would be stupid if it didn't, but if it doesn't, it's limited to Android games and other games that are in the NVIDIA hub, like Portal and Star Wars and Half-Life 2 Episode 1, things like that. And if you don't want any of those games, then of course you're going to get an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Xbox One.
Really, dude? Really, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't not pimp the place you work. I'm just saying that it's at this moment the PlayStation 4 is the king. Everything has to be cheaper than the PlayStation 4, else you're just not going to compete. And depending on how much cheaper, it will depend on what you can do. And as you said, the streaming service is what will save this thing. If this does not support their own streaming service, or maybe it does not deliver the 1080p, I don't know. Who knows what's really going to happen? And we'll find out in May, starting in that soon, what's going to happen with this device. So, but let's talk about something else that's popped up and that people are going on. Sony Morpheus. We have some new news. They introduced a new prototype. And this new prototype seems to be a little bit of an upgrade versus the previous one, and we have a general idea of when this baby's coming out. So let me see here. Let's start with some of the tech specs here. OLED display.
Yep.
1920 by RGB by 1080 screen. They're saying that the screen is 5.7 inches, and it's gonna allow for a 100 degree field of view. It now has 9 LED light trackers. If you remember the old one, it had a couple lights on it. Now it has 9 of them all the way around the whole headset. So now you will have a full 360 degrees of tracking. And they are talking that this thing here will be, well, most likely hitting early 2016. They said more demos will be coming out throughout later on the year. So keep your eyes open, all that kind of good stuff here. So. Andrew.
Yes.
What do you think of this, man?
Well, I mean, compared to the other prototype, which looked a little more like what Geordie LaForge's little eye visor thing. I mean, I think the bigger screen is definitely a big welcome, but just from the pictures alone, it just feels like it's a little bulkier. Mm-hmm. But I mean, at the same time, you kind of have to weigh. It's like, okay, you got form and functionality. Which one do you want more of? So I mean, it looks promising. I mean, if they can squeeze out everything properly, but I'm just scared to see what the price is eventually once it comes down the road.
Well, two things about the price. Well, one thing about the pricing here, and this is all speculative, and none of this can be confirmed or denied or anything. But I was goofing off on a gaming forum, and a person who actually does work for Sony, because we know that person works for Sony, because this person says, "Hey, I work for Sony." And it says here, I work for Sony, and I can't hide the fact that I work for Sony, so that if I make a comment about a video game, everybody knows, oh, this guy's biased, he works for Sony, But he simply says, hey, I'm just curious, what kind of target prices would you guys like to see it at, and things like that. And it seems like most people are telling them to try to keep it around $200 to $250, though some people are expecting $350. So. But it seems like the guy was more open to the $250 price point. If they can get it under $250, that would actually be great. But who the hell knows if they can? This thing is not going to have a built-in power supply. It's going to have a power cable coming out of it, so that's going to make it cheaper.
Kind of figured.
Yeah, that's definitely going to get the price down.
There's no way you could get, at least to my knowledge, that you could get a battery that small that the power up something like that.
Yeah, our phones are barely hanging in there, and our watches are going to be barely hanging in there. This thing would drain it even faster. And also I think they said the weight is really light. They said something like that, but that's from the old prototype. But yeah, so this thing is going to happen. Hopefully, we'll really get into VR. By the way, guys, VR is really happening.
Yeah,
Send me
it
one.
really is.
Send me one.
It's really happening. All right, now Andrew, Valve, they announced stupid freaking ads. All right, they announced a service and partially a Steam VR for something happening this November. What do we got?
All right, so Valve's releasing or announcing pretty much a Source 2 and a new product called Steam Link. So Steam machines, PCs, Macs, Linuxes, they'll be able to take advantage of this new Steam Link, which allows you to stream all your Steam or Steam content, excuse me. God, this is a tongue twister.
Stream Steam.
From any PC or Steam machine on the same home network, supporting 1080p at 60 Hz with low latency.
Watch out for that ad.
Available at this November for $49.99 and available with a Steam controller for additional $49.99. So,
so what do you think of the Steam Link, bro?
Wait, so is this replacing SteamOS?
This is like Apple TV for Steam. Yeah. This you plug in. So you know how you have Steam on your computer?
Yeah.
You plug this by your TV, and it'll transmit Steam over to your TV.
So where SteamOS was limited to Linux-based games, this would be anything.
So it's kind of similar to I want to say NVIDIA's Shadowplay, kind of.
Oh, okay.
Similar.
Ooh, so there's a little bit of more cloud gaming. Well, not cloud. This isn't cloud, but more streaming kind of competition.
Yeah. So like you know how like I guess you'd say this might be a bad example. You know how like Samsung has their screen share feature?
Okay.
Like
yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that, I guess.
Does
like
this
I said,
mean that if I want to? Does this mean that if I want to play my Steam game that's located on my computer, and I want to play it on my TV over there, you can't use my computer simultaneously?
Probably not.
I think. Well, they're saying you can.
Is it going to be a one-to-one mirror? Like you have to.
Well, I think they're just saying if you have like two different devices. So if you have your PC and you have a Steam machine or another thing that is compatible with Steam Link, you can swap from one machine to another.
I think this is the idea behind this is more like for people like me, actually. I have one computer. I don't have a current gen console, and I don't have any money. But I have a computer that I have Steam on right now.
You sound like a student.
Yeah, exactly. So but I hate gaming on my computer. Andrew, you and I have had many conversations about this, and Rad and I have argued about this countless times, how I hate gaming on my computer. Because I just can't sit in front of it. It just bugs me. But this will allow me to buy the game on Steam and then just go to my TV and just plug it in my TV, and then I can play the game in front of my TV. That's what this allows me to do. In other words, Apple TV.
Which is what SteamOS was trying to bridge that gap.
But now we got a $50 solution that they announced.
And there's going to stream
cool.
it too.
No, exactly. I'm all for that.
Exactly.
I'm all for that. Even if it is just a one-to-one, you can only do one thing at a time. That's still pretty damn cool. The question is how, is it dependent on your Wi-Fi connection? Is there how bad is latency? How bad is latency? Things like that.
Well, it has to be on the same network, so that's the thing. There's no outside the house thing. So if you're on to be on the same network, so that's going to help out a lot.
Is there any kind of Ethernet possibility, like so you can directly connect in somehow, like have a regular wired network?
Funny you say that. Yes, there's an Ethernet port, 2 USB ports, a power cable, and a HDMI cable.
Take my money. No, I don't game.
Yeah, but seriously, no. This is. See, the thing is this. So, like I said, I don't have an next-gen console, but I have Windows 8, and I have Steam over here that I have. But I game very rarely on it. But this now solves the problem. I could actually just game on my TV and buy the games here, and I don't have to buy a next-gen console. And given that it says it does, it will support 1080p, 60 frames per second, so I'll get the performance out of it. The only thing you don't get is the benefit of the consoles, which are the exclusives the console offers. In other words, Microsoft exclusives and Sony exclusives. But besides that, this will cover your Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty just fine, all day long.
All right. Yeah. Let's go ahead and move on to MWC.
All right. Mobile World Congress, but we're not leaving VR yet. We're still.
We aren't leaving VR, and we're not leaving Valve either.
No, not yet. So. It'd be great if you had a headset to use along with that VR solution that Valve is announcing. Wouldn't it be, Andrew?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, man. If HTC would team up with Valve or somebody like that would be great, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Tony, what do we got going on?
Yeah, so kind of coming out of left field, at MWC on Sunday, HTC and Valve announced a partnership where HTC would build Valve their very first VR headset, It has nothing to do with mobile phones whatsoever. You do not clip in the HTC One M9 into it or anything like that. It is a separate entity, and it pretty much looks like this. This is the prototype. It looks kind of weird because it's got those 3 cables coming out the top.
It's got holes.
Yeah, and it's got weird
It looks like a bug.
Cheese holes things. And
Suddenly I want a Swiss sandwich.
But like I said, it is a prototype of its sort, and being that this the Steam VR that they're trying to get into this new vertical, this is a really good time for HTC to do that, because let's be honest, we're going to talk about their phone in just a moment, but they're not doing very well in phones. But the thing that HTC does do well in is hardware design. Industry designing, and although this is a prototype, I can only imagine that the final product is going to look spectacular thanks to HTC. So alongside, this is called the HTC Vive, and it has let's see, with regards to what you'd be able to do, they have some partners on board, including Google, HBO, Lionsgate, Vertigo Games, and Dovetail Games, just to name a few. And this is going to be available to developers as a developer platform later on this year, and just in line with Oculus, Project Morpheus, and all the other VRs that are coming out. We'll probably see the final version of this sometime next year or the year after that. But yeah, this was kind of an interesting ending to the HTC press event, because I don't think any of us were really expecting this whatsoever.
Yeah, not at all. I had no idea. They kept it. I just think so. What's interesting is you said that HTC is struggling a little bit. Maybe they get a little bit in this OEM business, makes a lot of extra money, helps Valve out. Valve gets their foot into the VR game before even Sony gets into it, and they pull it out this year. Seems like a good move for HTC. Make some extra money on the deal, keep their name in positive, around the entire gaming community, and keep it up.
Yeah, this is still tethered to a computer, so it's not like you can literally walk around your environment. But as long as the tether is long enough, they were saying that from what the other reviewers said, that if you take into account Samsung's Gear VR, it still feels like there's a screen in front of you. But they said the peripheral views on the HTC Vive feels so like close quarters that it feels like you are really in that environment. And I don't know the coding difference. So if I were a game developer, if I want to develop a VR game, would I then have to, it goes back into the whole thing of being a developer for Android, iOS, Windows Phone, BlackBerry. Like, do I have to code it differently for all these other resolutions, or is it going to be pretty simple to just say, here's my VR game, here Sony, you take it, here Valve, you take it, and here whoever else, you take it. So those questions are going to be answered as time moves on. But there's actually a virtual reality summit happening in LA sometime later on this year that I am not going to, but there's going to be a lot of announcements coming out of it, and this is definitely going to be one of them. So, coolio to them. And so, for all of you guys that were hoping for a Steam Valve announcement regarding Portal 3, Team Fortress 3, all this
Half-Life 3.
Half-Life 3.
No.
Me and Andrew knew Half-Life 3.
No.
Yeah, that's been blowing up. All I've been hearing. I'm like,
it was all over 9gag, and I was just sitting back. I'm like, I don't know anything about this game, but I know it's not coming out.
Not yet.
Oh, do you believe do you believe it's really? You think it's going to happen? Huh?
You think they're still working on it?
You think Half-Life 3 is a real game? You don't think it's vaporware?
Well, I'll put it this way:
bro.
If they're gonna do it, they're not gonna do it this year.
I pulled out the vaporware card
last year.
Hey, a year and a half ago, I pulled out the vaporware card on that Sony game with that weird dog chicken thing. I forget what it's called. Oh, Last Guardian. And Matt Rad was upset, like, no! And I'm like, it ain't coming out. It's never coming out. That game does not exist. Until this day, Nothing.
The
Game is
Last
vaporware.
Guardian?
Yes, vaporware. That game, Half-Life 3, vaporware. I don't care. I know there's people who are listening to this getting upset. Dude, I hate to tell you that the game's not happening.
That's
God would
okay.
have released it
I still
a long
want my
time
other
ago.
game. I still want my Division. Come on, Ubisoft, get on it. Come on.
All right, now mobile-wise, they also did the M9. Now, so I guess there's some impressions on the M9. I guess that's what they got going on here, Tony.
Yeah. So the M9, for those of you that have not seen it, unfortunately, this picture that I have here is not so good. So let me get another picture for you guys that are watching the live feed of it.
Oh, you mean that half picture right there they show?
Yeah. Sorry, I grabbed a pretty bad image of it, but thanks to our buddies over at Android Central, because I don't know any of them. But yeah, here we go. This is the HTC M9, and hey, what do you know? It looks like the HTC M8.
No way.
But that's not a
looks
bad.
Like mine.
That's not a bad thing per se. The M8 design-wise wasn't too bad, but a lot of the complaints with the M8 was that it was too big to hold and too slippery. So they actually slimmed down the M9 a little bit, and the back cover is not so glossy. Apparently, it's a little bit grippier. They've changed it up a little bit with regards to obviously it's running Android 5.0 Lollipop. Still running Sense 7, so no real new Sense overlay on that. But you've got a 20 megapixel camera on the back, and then they move the ultra pixel 4 megapixel to the front. So for your low light selfies, it's going to be much gooder for all of you girls out there, or boys, whoever. Other specifications on the M9 include the following. We've got a Qualcomm 810 processor. It does have an IR blaster. It's a 5-inch screen, 32 gigabytes of onboard storage, but it will support an SD card. That's important. It will support an SD card. 3 gigabytes of RAM, LTE, obviously. It has HTC boom sound with Dolby Audio, so it has those front-facing speakers still, which is really key to HTC's money in the game of this craziness that we live in. And a lot of people were saying, a lot of people got over the look of it pretty quickly. Like, fine, it looks like the HTC One, fine. I was kind of hoping for something different and newer, but the HTC One M8 was fine, so whatever. What people were hoping was the camera. With a 20 megapixel camera, it would be 20 times better than it was last year. And guess what? It is not 20 times better than it was last year. For the most part, a lot of the reviewers that have had the chance to test the M9 out longer than just 5 minutes said that low light shots were very bad. Not very bad. They were disappointing, which I guess you could translate to very bad. So I mean, yeah. Phil Nicholson from Android Central, this website I'm on right now, he had a chance to mess around with the phone in Spain for about 36 hours. Actually, last week, about 4 days before they even announced the damn thing, and he went out to test it out in low light situations, and he said, yeah, and normal daytime, it's great. It's what you expect. But low light, don't expect too much, which is a shame. But in any event, this is going to come in, I think, a couple of colors, and it's all really going to be dependent on your market as to which colors you're going to get. But it's anodized metal, so they can pretty much do any color they want, just like they've been doing. Because in the past, they've had blue ones, they've had red ones. So yeah.
All right. So which color would you get? No, I'm just kidding. Well, actually, what would you get? Neon teal or something, or can you get any color, or do they not offer that yet?
They don't offer that, but there's a lot of companies that will give you like stickers to put over.
Oh God.
I know MKBHD. What he does is there's a company, I forget what
the NKOB, what? New Kids on the what? Sorry, what?
Marquez Brownlee, he's one of the top cell phone reviewers on YouTube,
Okay.
There's a company that he, I don't know if he's sponsored by them or not, but he goes to them to basically put a cover on the back of all of his daily driver phones. And I don't think it's a sticker per se. I think he actually gets the whole back replaced. And I know you've seen this before where you send in your laptop or you send in your PlayStation 3 to this company and then they send it back to you after about a month of actually repainting the parts and stuff like that, and it looks like stock, and that's what this particular company does, and they'll more than likely do that for the HTC M9. So if you do not like your color choices, you can definitely get the color choices that you want. You'll just have to pay a lot more just for that. And you'll probably be without a phone for about a month. So, but yeah.
Hey, real fast before you go on to the next topic here of the fitness tracker, which by the way looks very interesting and it's a very entertaining title they have there. I just saw this a minute ago. Apparently, I guess in that news with the VR thing with the Morpheus, Sony also announced they are up to 20.2 million PS4s sold.
Wow.
Yeah, and I guess the thing about that is they said they were at an 18.5 at the beginning of January. So in 2 months they sold almost 2 million more.
This is worldwide, right?
Good. Yeah, of course. Good.
Okay.
I'm just like, God, that's a lot of freaking things. Anyway, I just thought, I'm like, man, that's a lot of. And I was just talking about, yes, yeah, wow, yeah, all right. Everyone got to be cheaper than $400 from this point on. No matter what, you got to be cheaper. All right. Anyway, so now one more thing that they announced in this one here. I don't know. By the way, so I know you talk about me and wearables and watches and all that, and I know this is considered a wearable, but Tony, I would watch in a heartbeat before I would probably just like have something like this. But is this like supposed to be a watch and more? Is that kind of what's happening with this new HTC product they're announcing, this new fitness thing?
Yeah, no, the vertical is fitness.
All right.
And the idea is that, similar to a Fitbit, I mean, you would wear it all day, all night, because it can also track your sleep. I don't know exactly what the battery life is, but it has a digital display. It has GPS in it, and I think there are two sizes. This is called the Grip, and it is in partnership with Under Armour. And for those of you who don't know who Under Armour is, it's that company that does a lot of like the fitness kind of apparel, things like that. And they announced this partnership back at CES, and this is the first physical device between the two companies. And in conjunction with Under Armour's app called UA Record, you're able to track your fitness, and you can also see how you're doing in line with other people that are using the UA Record application. So if you're really into seeing, if you're really into that kind of tracking and that kind of pseudo competing against other athletes, this is HTC's attempt to get into that wearable realm that is kind of being a kind of a not a thing, but it is a fad per se at this moment in time, because fitness is kind of coming back in droves. Microsoft got in it with the Health Band. Jawbone, they have their own. Like I said, Fitbit has their own. So the fact that HTC is doing it with Under Armour is going to help that name go up a little bit, because people in the fitness world know Under Armour. They trust Under Armour. I don't know how good or how bad the UA Record application is or isn't, but this is kind of a big cuff. So if you have small wrists, I'm hoping that there's a smaller size for the women, or just small-wristed men. But it's also a standard wearable where you can get your notifications of your text messages and your emails and weather and things like that. So it's not just only going to be like a fitness tracker. It's going to try to do more, but it's not going to do too much. Like you wouldn't be able to order pizza from it or anything like that. And I say that because Domino's now integrates into Android Wear, but it's going to come on the market soon, later on this year. So it would be one of those other options for you out there in the world to see if whether you have an Android device or an iPhone device, because HTC is no longer requiring you to just use HTC stuff, which is cool. This might be a contender. It will come in, I think the main color, it comes in a couple of colors, but I think the main color is a lime green inside and then a matte black on the outside. So.
Awesome.
I will say that it's pretty legit to see, kind of like, it's legible, sorry. It's pretty good. I mean, that's the one thing you kind of worry about. It's like, you look at these type of wearables, it's like, okay, can I read this? Is this going to be, like, crisp? Or is it going to be, like... I'm losing my vocabulary, but you guys know what I mean.
You're saying for all the people who can't read their watch. Tony, on the watch that you have, are you able to see them pretty well? I'm just curious.
The watch that I have?
Yeah. So, okay. Because I understand his concern, and that is a very vibrant display. And you could see that as clear as the day.
Yeah.
I do think it does remind me of a ticker. What is those? Those little stock price ticker thingies that you see on the bottom of the screen, though.
Yeah, we call it tickers.
I hate to say it.
Mm-hmm. So,
but, it looks pretty cool.
Awesome.
Hopefully it's comfortable.
Now,
you know what?
Oh, what?
You know what's not comfortable?
Oh.
Is a curved screen slider.
No, okay.
From BlackBerry.
No, dude. I don't know, man. Are you sure this thing isn't comfortable yet? I mean, look at this thing. They released showed off a touchscreen phone with a slider in the back, dude. What? I mean, this is BlackBerry getting outside the box yet not stepping outside the box at all. I mean, this is something interesting. I mean, they're trying something different.
They just need to stick with software.
I'm just saying, bro. Don't hate on them, man.
Stick with what you know.
For all you BlackBerry lovers out there, what BlackBerry has teased at the Mobile World Congress is a new BlackBerry phone that is a curved phone that seems to have a slider. Now, it was only shown briefly. The guy just showed it off, opened it up, showed that it had a touchscreen, and then they kind of put it in his pocket and got out of there.
Here it is. Goodbye now.
Yeah. But BlackBerry they're going to go with something that has a full QWERTY keyboard on there. Yet, it's a sliding phone, yet full touchscreen. So I'm just saying, as Tony hates, they're trying something new. So, if you really dig BlackBerry, or if you're holding on for dear life, maybe you want something interesting, don't give up. Don't give up. BlackBerry's got you. Kinda. Maybe. Possibly.
Good job, John.
Maybe not.
Anyway, so besides BlackBerry, I guess they're starting to do some internet stuff too. What do you got going on, man?
Yeah, so Google is still working on their whole internet drones supporting internet for underwhelmed countries that don't have towers on land.
Getting internet to places that don't have internet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
They're attempting to do that through balloons as well as these drones that they bought the technology from, and Project Titan is using these drones. And according to Google's Sundar Pichai, Project Titan is underway, and its first flight is going to be conducted later on this year. This leads to something that a lot of us have been wondering if Google will actually have their own cellular network or not. And Sundar Pichai said that they would, but it would somewhat be an MVNO of some of the major carriers, and they did not say who it was going to be. But the fact that is going to be based off of Wi-Fi calling and cellular, and T-Mobile just announced that they're going to be building out a Wi-Fi calling network. It kind of correlates that Google would be partnering at least with T-Mobile, if not all the major carriers eventually. So that's the particular part of this news story. But also that I don't know if Project Loon doesn't look like it's being phased out. I think Project Loon and Titan are going to be working side by side. They're going to complement each other with regard to being a mesh network. So if you don't know what a mesh network is, think of a mesh towel where there's like crosshairs and things like that. And in that are going to be balloons and drones, and they're all going to kind of be intercommunicating with each other just so you can get your porn on your phone. That's important,
Oh my god.
Yeah,
4 in the
especially
morning.
Google. Google's making sure you get it.
Well, yeah, because they, you can go to Blogger and just click that accept and you're an adult.
All right, so that's what we got for Google. Now, other people who were at the Mobile World Congress making announcements was Samsung, and Samsung had quite a few things going on with their Galaxy S6. And actually, hey, should we do the Apple Pay one first, since the other ones are all phone related? Because I'm looking at that now.
No.
All right, well, we'll do the first one then. All right, Tony.
Yeah, so finally, Samsung announces the Galaxy S6 and the Galaxy S6 Edge. We pretty much already saw all the leaks of this last week and the week before that, but it's finally here, and they're pretty much the same phone. About 95% of these two phones are identical to one another. And so for those of you who haven't seen a picture of it, here is a picture of it in their most intricate beauty. On the left is the Galaxy S6 Edge. On the right is the Galaxy S6. With regards to each other, their design, it is Gorilla Glass 4 on the front, and oh yeah, Gorilla Glass 4 on the back as well too. So you say what you will about glass on the back and the front. Gorilla Glass 4 is supposed to be a lot thicker, so you shouldn't have shatter issues like we've had in the past with the iPhone 4 and the Nexus 4, but we'll see. Hold on. Losing my voice here. It's a 5.1-inch 2K resolution.
Let's just say it is a 2K resolution. Okay, continue.
Yeah, 2K resolution. And it's metal all the way around, so no plastic piece, but also no removable battery. And also, yeah, I do need Ricola. I don't know where it is. Here somewhere.
You know, it's funny. I have a bag of them over here if you need one.
Well, that tells me not at all.
I can drop some off.
That's fine. And then also, it has no removable battery, nor does it have a micro SD card.
Whoa.
Okay, so
the sizes. Hold on. One
second.
second. The sizes are going to be 32, 64, and 128 gigabytes.
Okay, how much preloaded crap are they going to put on it?
Well, hold on there too. I want to go into the design of the Galaxy S6 Edge.
Okay.
Again, pretty much the same thing, except now the 5.1-inch display is curved on the left and the right sides, and it's a continuous screen. If you've seen the Galaxy Note Edge, there's the Galaxy Note screen, and then separately there's a separate Edge display that is completely separate from your main display, and they don't merge to each other really whatsoever. But now this display is fluid throughout the whole top, and some reviewers are saying that this is an issue because on the actual edges they're so small, it's hard to hold. And then some reviewers are saying this is a really good design because the way that Android Lollipop is designed, you swipe in from the left and you swipe in from the right, and having a curved design makes it that much easier to do so. With respects to the operating system, it's Android Lollipop. They are using their own Exynos processor. It's a octa-core processor, super fast. Battery life, it's interesting. They kind of skirted over battery life. I don't think they even said what the milliamp amperage was for the battery life, but they says it charges super fast, because not only does it have super fast charging that the Samsung devices have now, but they also have PMA and WPC charging. WPC charging is the Qi charging, which is kind of a more popularized charging. PMA is PowerMat, which is the charging consortium that Starbucks uses in their Starbucks stores. So if you ever gone to a Starbucks store that says, hey, you can wirelessly charge your phone now, you can do that with the Galaxy S6, but the Galaxy S6 works on both, which is freaking awesome. That's smart. That's the way to do it. You need to accept both. With respects to the camera, you know what? I don't have I don't remember what the camera was on the front, but on the back it's still a 16 megapixel camera sensor. However, the nice thing about the camera is that it has an f-stop 1.9 f-stop, so it's supposed to be much better in low light situations, and it's a lot quicker. The way that you unlock the camera, you can actually double tap the home button and it will just turn the camera on. And Android Central did a side-by-side comparison of how quick the camera turns on between the Galaxy Note 4, the Galaxy S5, and the iPhone 6. And the iPhone 6 and the Galaxy S6 actually turns the camera on almost identically time-wise. And then the last thing is, yes, I will say it outright. It looks like an iPhone. You know, if you haven't seen it, again, here's some other photos of it. The back looks great, and it's going to come in a few other colors, but it has really nice curves to it. Here are the other colors that it's going to come in, depending on your market. But it definitely has an iPhone feel to it. I'm sure Apple's going to take them to task for that. But I don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong with copying, with being inspired by, you know, a market leader, if you will. But I really do think that, you know, Samsung, this was called Project Zero. Samsung took it back to the drawing board, and I think they did a pretty bang-up job. Now, Sean, you mentioned how much crap is loaded on there.
Yeah.
That's going to be dependent on two things.
Okay.
Your market and your carrier. Okay, but from the Samsung devices that they were using at the trade shows, there were a lot of Google apps pre-installed, which to me I get because this is a Google phone. But there are certain Google apps that I just won't ever use, and I'd like the ability to uninstall them. So I don't know if this allows you to fully uninstall them because they're already pre-installed. So that question's up in the air. There are the Microsoft apps that were rumored to be preloaded on the phone too, but it's not all of them. Office isn't yet on it. You get OneDrive. You actually get 115 gigabytes of OneDrive when you sign in with your OneDrive account, which is a weird number to give for free, but they give you 115 gigabytes. Which I guess adds up to 130 because you get 15 gigabytes for free. So there you go. You get OneNote, and then you also get Skype. And then there are a few other Samsung apps on there, but they did say they scaled it down about 40% with regards to how much other Samsung preloaded stuff was on there in the past. So there's still the Samsung magazine, powered by Flipboard. But hey, if you like Flipboard, then that's not really a problem. Did you guys have any other questions on this one? I've seen a lot of people reviewing this on First Impressions, and I gotta say I was kind of torn between the two. And I know when I first heard about the double edge of the Edge, I was not impressed with the idea. But the more and more I look at it, I'm like I'm considering it more and more as a possible contender in this world of flat slabs. If you think about it, all of our phones are just flat slabs. You need to do something to differentiate yourself. And it looks like BlackBerry's also kind of doing a curved screen to a certain degree. I didn't see a huge curve in the BlackBerry LEAP, but there is a little bit of a curve somewhat. This one also, so obviously the Edge has two curves. And there's still some Edge like APIs, like if you swipe in from the right edge, you'll be able to quickly contact your favorite contact list and a few other things as well too. There's also an Edge light display, which is really stupid. I think it's definitely a gimmick. The idea is your favorite contacts will have a specific color associated with them, and when you have your phone face down on the desk like you do, and that person calls you, the color corresponding to that person will start showing up on the edge, and he's like, oh, the color it's the color green, that's Sean, or hey, it's the color red, that's my wife, without actually having to pick up the phone and flip it around. So
oh, do not pick this up. Sorry.
Yeah. So to answer your questions about it, I'm going to completely stand by a statement and a thing that I said before. When people are ready to buy a phone, they'll go out and buy a phone. Most people will not care. Oh, a new phone came out, whatever. Oh, when my phone breaks, I'll go get a new phone. And when they go get a new phone, they'll go between Apple and Android or Windows Phone, and then from there they'll just grab them. And at that point, if this phone with that smooth edge feels good in your hand, they'll get a sale. That's the point when it all comes down. And then, of course, the sales guy and girl going down and showing it to them. But when it's in their hands and they're moving it, that's the point where that phone's got to be responsive and it feels good. And if it feels good, they're onto something. But people will pretty much kind of say, oh, I kind of already know I want to go with an Apple. Or I kind of already know I want to go with this. I'm looking at that new Galaxy. People are kind of into that already.
This is coming out on April 10th. We don't know exactly what markets, but obviously the United States, all the major carriers are getting it. We don't know which SKUs they're getting because they are going to have specific colors going to specific carriers. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my dog is barking. I need to go grab him. But so okay. Sean, if you could cover the VR, and then we'll do the Samsung Pay right after that.
All right.
I noticed we had a big reaction to the fixed memory too.
What do you mean?
Do you think that might be a design? Or with the Samsung?
Oh, yeah, you and I. Okay, here's the reason why I had the reaction. I'm sure is because I own a Samsung S4 right now. I had an S3. When you have a 16 gigabyte phone and when you get it, you already lose half the memory. It's like, well, great. And so, but at least they give you the card. So if I really do need more memory, I could throw a card in to give me the option. They're limiting it to 32. So I was like, all right, well. 32 is fine, but as we always know, everything gets bigger. Data gets bigger, videos get bigger, pictures get bigger. As our cameras get better, the photos they take get larger. So our data gets eaten up faster.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, I kind of know Samsung for reputation. Like all their phones, you always have that option to expand on that memory, and it's kind of like I guess you could say a personal type of thing. So I almost want to say it just seems like maybe because of the design thing that they were going with, they just didn't have any place to put the memory slot, I guess, or something. I mean, it's really hard. I would imagine that's really hard to say what their reasons are to kind of leave that feature out.
With the memory card?
They did, yeah, but they did put 128. So, well, that's the thing.
As an option.
So, yeah, so it's like I wish that it was 64 minimum and 128 was the other option, because if they take away, because we're talking about the missing memory slot, and I understand why me and Andrew reacted, and it's kind of like, man, I don't want it, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. It just depends on how much bloatware is on there. If they keep it like under 5 gigabytes with the amount of crap on it and other stuff, and you get most of your gigabytes out of it, then you know what? Fine. It's still more than what you would get out of an S4 stock. All right. So, all right.
But
anyway.
Still.
All right. We didn't get to VR because we were still talking about the other thing here. So I guess we could talk about Samsung Pay.
Samsung Pay. So Samsung announced that they acquired LLaP about 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And if you guys remember, LLaP was that technology that the device would emit an electromagnetic frequency that tricked these swipe machines to think that you were actually swiping a card, but it wasn't. So you would literally just put your phone next to the swiper, and I don't know if you would actually have to move your phone or not, but either way, it bypasses the whole NFC requirement, so about 95% of swipe machines would accept LLaP by default just because it thinks you're using a credit card. Samsung already has integrated this technology into the Galaxy S6, so we know that this partnership and this idea has been working out for quite some time, and they have called this Samsung Pay, and it's also going to use NFC, so don't think that they're completely giving up NFC. But Samsung Pay, they have made some deals with MasterCard, Visa, arrangements with Bank of America, American Express, Citi, JP Morgan Chase, US Bank, things that Google didn't do, Samsung did.
Is this like a Nintendo kind of a thing?
Yeah, and that's the one thing that it's like, if Google would have done this, then it would have made Google Wallet so much better from the get-go. But hey, they kind of flopped on that, and Samsung's doing it. And now the battle of wireless payment isn't going to be on between Android and iOS. It's going to be between Samsung and iOS, because at least at first glance, this makes so much sense. However, here's the question. When chip and pin become the method of swiping your credit card in the future, is LLaP Pay or Samsung Pay going to be able to fulfill that? And I would have to guess yes, because as I mentioned in the last podcast, LLaP Pay CEO said we can mimic the chip and pin. We just need the bank's approval to do this, and they're getting the bank's approval. So again, Google could have done this, but they decided to wait for some reason, and they got the lesser of the two options. So the other really good thing about this is that the information is all tokenized. So when you swipe your card or swipe your phone, you all get hobbit eyes. When you swipe your phone, your information isn't going to the the store or anything like that. They're not going to get any personal information. They get a token that basically verifies that it is you and this is your money, and take my money, damn it, and give me my stuff, and then you go on your way. So it's way more secure. I'm not going to say it's very secure, but it's way more secure than NFC is without tokenization. No hobbits. No hobbits allowed.
No hobbits allowed. This is gonna make a very interesting show for the rest of the thing, because my mouse just fell to the floor and broke.
Oh God.
Well.
So this is what's gonna happen here. We're gonna talk about Samsung VR.
I'll talk about it, and you fix your mouse.
Dude. I'm looking at the three pieces right now. I'm looking at the circuit board, but the light is still on. I'm looking at the cover over here, and the cable seems to be going somewhere else.
All right, well, I'll talk about the Samsung VR, and you figure that out, and maybe get your mouse that's still running the PS2 connection. Okay, so the Galaxy Gear, the Gear VR that was announced back with the Galaxy Note 4 is not optimized for the Galaxy S6. So unfortunately, if you were hoping to use that with the Galaxy S6, you're not in luck. But they did create a Gear VR specifically engineered for the Galaxy S6 and Galaxy S6 Edge. It has a new high-res resolution of 577 pixels per square inch on a 5.1-inch quad HD display. It's about 15% smaller and lighter, which is very important. You guys were mentioning about how heavy the Project Morpheus headset was, as well as the HTC headset. The weight of the headset is so important, because when you're immersed in an environment, but then all you're doing is tilting your head down because it's so heavy, that takes out of whatever that you're trying to get into. So this is supposed to be a lot lighter, and it's powered by it's powered by Oculus Rift. So all this stuff that's coming out of Oculus with the help of Melk Videos and Samsung and obviously Facebook, this is definitely going to be taking advantage of. So I'm still not going to get one. Unless Samsung, you want to give me one? Sorry, I thought my dog was falling. Unless Samsung, you want to give me one. But again, going into the whole VR era that we're in right now, I know, the internet, again, this is one of those things that the internet loves to argue about, that VR is dead. It's all about augmented reality or augmented reality.
That? People really
Yeah.
arguing that? We haven't had any of them yet.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. Like what are you comparing it to? Like what finished product is out there that you can definitively say this is a good finished product? You're not going to say the Virtual Boy is a good finished product.
Yeah,
you know, unless you like polygons, like weird pterodactyls that have no internals, like coming at you or whatever.
You just like to see red all the time.
Yeah, so I tried that again at Victor's house. And
oh God, really?
For like,
why? Why would you do that to yourself? It's like so painful.
It was I was trying to have that visceral like nostalgic feeling, and instead I had a visceral nauseous feeling.
I think it's because it's just monocolor. So it plays into your perception a bit too.
Oh well, whatever the case may be, I don't recommend it on my worst enemy. Actually, I do.
Yeah, it's pretty.
But I don't have an enemy.
Yeah, Tony. So I was gonna say my thing about the Samsung VRs is the fact that they seem to be limited to certain phones. And for me to have a VR device limited to one particular device is ridiculous. It's like buying a program of today's standards and having it limited to your operating system, where if you reinstall the operating system, you have to buy the program again.
I agree, but here's the problem. It's Android. Android's the problem. The Oculus Rift CEO basically said developing for Android was a mess. Because with all the resolutions and this and that, it's so much to get the Oculus APIs to work properly with Android, and to just simplify it in their mind to really just two different SKUs, that being the Galaxy Note 4 and the Galaxy S6 and 6 Edge, it's less likely that they would have to really kind of pull their hair out to make it work to its fullest. Having the phone be the method in which that it basically powers the whole device, it may not be the solution. Because you have to first buy the phone, right? Yeah. And then you buy this $200 device, or even if it's $150, it's still $150, and you have to buy the phone. Yeah. And there might be some times where you need to use the phone for something, and you can't use the phone because you're using it in your VR, and so there are benefits and limitations to both sides of this argument, and I am more inclined to say there's more limitations than benefits. So that's why for me, like if I were to jump into the VR realm, I would still at this point, because of all the work that they've done, I would still say Oculus is in the forefront ahead of all these other competitors that are out there. But time will tell, and Microsoft has their HoloLens, which isn't virtual reality, but it still has that visor experience. But yeah.
I don't know, dude. I really am. The Valve one's got my interest the most right now. The reason why the Valve one's got my interest even more than Morpheus is because, well, from what we're able to see, it's because they're going to get theirs shipped this year. Sony's talking about next year. So Valve must have something pretty good in their hands, or the technology they have must be pretty solid, even though they just announced it. Maybe they're a lot further along than we think they are. So I know that we think the Oculus has the key, maybe technology-wise, but in reality, until we get any of these, the Morpheus, the Oculus, the Samsung, until we get more and more of these into more people's hands, then it's going to be hard to say. And the second thing is this: the advantage that Oculus, Valve's, the Steam one has, VR, and then the Morpheus have, is the fact that they're on a network that already has these games ready to go. Samsung is limited to the Android marketplace, so they're going to be it's like they're getting into a game that I don't think they can win. No matter what they do, I just don't think they can win this game.
Well, maybe there will be two markets.
Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe there'll be the mobile VR market and the PC gamer VR market.
But it's funny? Those markets, and then we'll go on, will be dictated on the price. If one market, if the PC gamer one is less than $250, that mobile one got to be $125. It's got to be half the price. If it's not, then you're wasting your time. Anyway, all right. So I can't go to the next topic, but I know it has to do with the Samsung Edge, I think is what it says here, but I can't open it up because my mouse is dead.
No, we went over Samsung, so that's the end of Samsung.
So we're on the Microsoft launches, a couple new Lenovo things.
Yeah, Lumia.
Yeah, I know, this sucks. Not having a mouse blows, guys. All right, let me move this real quick here.
So Microsoft announced 2 new mid-range devices, the Lumia 640 and the 640 XL. This will be arriving in April. They're both running Windows 8.1, Windows Phone 8.1, but they're going to be upgradable for free to Windows 10 later on this year. The 640 has a 5-inch display with 8 gigabytes of onboard storage, whereas the 640 XL has a 5.7-inch HD display with a 13-megapixel camera, and they both measure about 9 millimeters thick. They both include 1 year of Office 365, which is the Office suite on your computer, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and a terabyte of cloud storage. And they're going to come in both 3G and LTE models, and priced accordingly. So for sub $250, these phones are pretty good, This is not the flagship phone that a lot of people were hoping for. Again, I'll say this. I knew Microsoft was going to announce a phone, but I knew it wasn't going to be a flagship because all the investment that they're putting into Windows 10, rather, they want to market on the same time that the actual operating system is launched. So in any event, if you're looking for a sub $250 phone in markets that will be supporting like prepaid or out there in Europe, this is not a bad option. And then the last thing that came out that we want to talk about, rather, that came out of Mobile World Congress is Qualcomm. So we've been hearing a lot of rumors about Qualcomm not being in Samsung devices, which is true. Like I mentioned earlier, Samsung's using their Exynos processor. Qualcomm announced the next mobile processor called the Snapdragon 820. This is going to be the first one that can handle their Zeroth cognitive computing platform. Essentially, this means the phone can learn about you and the world around you. So right now, if you were to say, oh, my phone already does that. No, it doesn't. Google knows about you, or Apple knows about you, not your phone. So this means that the processor will tap into like the GPS chips and the gyroscopes and accelerometer a lot more. More than likely using the microphone always on a lot more. They also announced a brand new method of fingerprinting called Sense ID, and this is really cool. This fingerprinting scan technology actually can detect your fingers through glass, metal, and other surfaces. And before I forget, on the Galaxy S6, they also have a fingerprint scanner, but it is almost as fast as Touch ID on the iPhone. It's the same method. You would just press your finger on the Touch ID panel or whatever they're calling it, and it unlocks your phone. So there's no swiping your finger like you have to do with the Galaxy Note 4 or the Galaxy S5. So good for you, Samsung. Whatever technology you use for that, license that out and let other people use it, because if you need the money, but you don't. But yeah, going back to this. Yeah, seeing that Samsung's no longer using Qualcomm, I guess Qualcomm's going to be pushing this onto other OEMs to use it in their technology in their phone. So, cool.
Very cool. All right, and guess what? Backup mouse.
Ooh.
All right.
That looks like a ladybug.
This one here gets all fancy and goes all funny colors.
Oh.
Yeah, it's for people looking at it, is a Roland brand. It's like a keyboard company.
Roland brand, yeah.
Yeah. They do all this stuff. So apparently, this was given to me a couple of weeks ago.
Does it play tunes every time you move it?
No, but this thing is pretty psychedelic, and I'm just looking at this like. But the thing is, the middle click button doesn't click, and I'm like, I need that to click. It's like,
well, don't trip out on us, all right? Just stay with us.
No. Anyway, all right.
Don't look into the light.
I am staring at it, dude. I can't help it. All right.
It's so pretty.
We would like to thank everybody for hanging out with us. It was a little bit longer than normal, but it was very, very detailed, and I hope you guys all learned a whole lot of information. Now, we would like to give you guys some contact information for us, the Lazy Tech guys. First, you can email us at comments@lazytechguys.com, or you can give us a call at 707-722-5299. We can be found on all the social networks if you look up Lazy Tech Guys. That includes Facebook, Google+, and Twitter. Now, on YouTube, we can be found, but it is under Lazy Tech TV. You're going to find many different videos there, including reviews, video game views, music videos, and quite a bit of other things. So definitely subscribe to that channel. It'll be very key, and you'll find a lot of entertainment, because we like being entertained, right? Nirvana said it.
What is this, Gladiator now?
Are you not to entertain? I was thinking more Nirvana, but hey, it's all good.
Yeah.
All right, so we also like to thank Audible.com for being a sponsor. audibletrial.com/lazy. Tony, anything else here that you want to...
No, just follow me on Twitter, LTG Tony, or on Google+, Tony Hannity's. And last but not least, this is my dog. He's barking. Go to sleep.
It's funny, you put him on camera, he stops barking. He's like, oh, well, I don't bark. I don't bark.
What are you doing? I don't
throw me out. Throw me out there like this, Joe. I ain't doing this, man. Come on, man. Andrew, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter also, Aoshi-san with X's at the beginning and end of the address there, or you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Aoshi-san. All the previous podcasts that I do on weekends or late tonight, for example. Well, I'm not doing one tonight, but late night will be uploaded to our YouTube channel at Lazy Tech TV. So check it out, subscribe, let us know what you guys think.
You're not doing the 2 o'clock Wednesday morning podcast again?
No.
I'm Sean Wilburn. You can find me everywhere. Anyway, you just look me up on Google Plus as well as LTG Sean and many other things. So, or just look me up, find me, Sean, Sean, Wilburn, Wilburn, or if you like the people watching the video, just like it's spelled at the bottom. We would like to thank you guys all for hanging out with us. It was fun. It was great, but we're all getting tired. It's late, and we're going to go ahead and talk about tech. Well, we've got to talk about tech next week. So, with that, thank you again for hanging out. See you later. Have a great day, and goodbye.
Peace.
Hey, that's what I do.